British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has figured out what a woman is. Can the same be said for American Democrats? RFK Jr. announces the latest effort to make America healthy again. Plus, Democrat Senator Van Hollen and others double down on an illegal alien gang member. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour.
God bless the United States of America.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to the 13-Minute News Hour. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with news from across the Atlantic because it appears that our friends in England have figured out what a woman is. Yes, it's breaking news, and it's something that the leftists here in America still haven't figured out. But now even Prime Minister Keir Starmer has come around, mostly because the highest court in Britain last week ruled that a woman is a woman, an adult female human being. And that when talking legally about a woman, the reference is to that person's biological sex, not the gender the person thinks he is or wants to be. In other words, men are men and women are women.
Like the placards at the trans rights rally at the weekend, the statement "trans women are women" used to be something the Labour leader, like the majority of his party, was willing to state. But now?
Do you believe a trans woman is a woman?
Look, I think the Supreme Court has answered that question.
So you don't believe a trans woman is a woman?
Look, a woman is an adult female, and the court has made that absolutely clear. I actually welcome the judgment because I think it gives real clarity.
It's funny that Starmer needs the country's Supreme Court to help him figure this out. This is a man who previously said that trans women, men pretending to be women, are actually women. Back in 2022, Starmer told the Times of London that, quote, "A woman is a female adult, and in addition to that, trans women are women," end quote. Now, when asked by the BBC if a transgender woman is a woman, Starmer's spokesman said recently, no, the Supreme Court judgment has made clear that when looking at the Equality Act, a woman is a biological woman, end quote.
The shift follows the Supreme Court ruling last week that under equality law, sex should be defined as biological sex and not gender. His spokesperson was even clearer later, saying the Prime Minister no longer does believe that trans women are women.
I could not believe my eyes or my ears this afternoon. I know what a woman is, and I always have. Yeah. The people of this country know what a woman is. We didn't need the Supreme Court to tell us that, but this government did.
Contrast that sensibility with what is going on in America, where some blue states are doubling down on their obsession with putting boys in girls' locker rooms and showers and on girls' sports teams. In Maine, the governor continues to defy the Trump policy that girls' sports are for girls, that girls' locker rooms are for girls, and the Department of Justice is taking action.
We have exhausted every other remedy.
But Attorney General Pam Bondi says Maine has not stopped biological males from competing in girls' scholastic sports. She cites Title IX, a 1972 federal civil rights law prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sex in activities receiving federal funding.
We are seeking to have the titles returned to the young women who rightfully won these sports.
It's just common sense. But the left continues to push this agenda because the left hates norms and standards and order. Change what it means to be normal, and all of a sudden, everything is considered normal, even when people know it's not. Fortunately, over the last couple of years, Americans have rallied and said enough is enough. Woke is dying on the vine, but it's not going easily. We must continue to fight for what is right. If a boy wants to play sports, there are boys' teams readily available. It's so disturbing that the Democrats, who say they are the party of women, will willingly push policies that deprive women of privacy, scholarships, achievement, and safety. All right, next, let's talk about RFK Jr.'s efforts to make America healthy again. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Next, let's talk about HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his quest to make America healthy again. In general, Americans are loving what they are hearing from Kennedy. There are so many toxic additives in our food, additives that are banned in other countries, but yet are packed into our cereals, breads, fast foods, and basically everything else. Kennedy is on a mission, and he announced a major initiative this week.
Owned half the wealth on earth when my uncle was president, and part of that was because of the vigor of our society. And that's one of the reasons he started the Presidential Council on Physical Fitness, because he felt that Americans were getting soft, and it was going to steal from us and erode all of our leadership, our moral authority, and our values, and our role as an exemplary nation. And since his death, we've had this extraordinary chronic disease epidemic. When my uncle was president, 3% of American kids had chronic disease. Today, it's around 60%.
What Kennedy is focusing on now is getting rid of petroleum-based dyes in our food. Just the sound of petroleum-based dyes should make you say, what? But that's right. Rather than natural dyes made from foods, these dyes are currently found in numerous items for consumption, and not only have no nutritional value, but study after study have found them to be harmful. Here's the new FDA Commissioner, Marty McCary, on the program.
Today, the FDA is taking the following steps. Number one, establishing a national standard and timeline for the food industry to transition from petroleum-based food dyes to natural alternatives. Number two, initiating a process to revoke authorization of synthetic food colorings, including those not in production, namely citrus red number 2 and orange B, within the coming weeks. Number three, taking steps to eliminate the remaining 6 synthetic dyes on the market from the U.S. food supply.
Those 6 synthetic dyes, red dye number 40, yellow dyes number 5 and 6, blue dyes number 1 and 2, and green dye number 3, are now scheduled to be phased out by the end of 2026. It's great news, and here's more.
These steps that we are taking means that the FDA is effectively removing all petroleum-based food dyes from the U.S. food supply. The FDA is also announcing plans today to authorize 4 additional natural color additives using natural ingredients in the coming weeks, while also accelerating the review and approval of other natural ingredient colors.
What's interesting about this entire effort is that those on the left are opposed to anything that RFK Jr. does. It's like Elon Musk. The left loved pushing his cars on everyone until he became the Antichrist. Now, all these suddenly supposedly natural granola-eating leftists are protesting making America healthy again and supporting the corporate food giants. Next, 4 more Democrats have joined Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen in flying down to El Salvador to demand the release and return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States. This particular issue is one that just makes me scratch my head. Abrego Garcia has had deportation orders filed against him. He's an alleged wife beater, and courts have produced evidence linking him with MS-13 gang activity. All of this is known and verified. He's an illegal alien who was ordered to be deported, and yet these Democrats are rallying to support him and ignoring the Americans who have been victims of illegal gang activities. A majority of Americans in a recent poll want all illegal aliens deported. All of them. So this effort by the Democrats is just bizarre. Here's former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf.
The fact that the senator was down there at all, I think, just shows you what the left of the Democratic Party now stands for. I mean, they want to return convicted individuals, MS-13 gang members, individuals that are part of a foreign terrorist organization back to the United States. And I hear Senator Van Hollen say we need to bring him home. The United States is not his home. He is not a legal permanent resident. He is not a U.S. citizen, and he has no legal right to be here in the United States. He has a final order of removal. And I don't think that the senator, I don't think that half of the Democratic Party really understands what's going on here.
Amazing. It's as if the Democrats learned absolutely nothing from the 2024 elections. Of all the issues, the one that Trump has the biggest favorability on is the border and dealing with illegal aliens. And these Democrats are apparently still in their locked room talking to each other and acting if that group represents the American people. It doesn't. The legacy media are, of course, aiding the Democrats with their narrative. Check this headline out from the New York Times, which was accurately corrected by the Trump White House. He's not a Maryland man. He's an illegal alien from El Salvador. Here's more.
If for some reason he was brought back to the United States, here's what would happen. As soon as he would land, he would be arrested again. He would be put in detention, and he would be removed to another safe third country. There is no scenario in which this individual comes back to live here in the United States because he has no legal right to be here. We've had numerous judges tell him he has no legal right to be here, but yet he remains here illegally. So the fact that we have senators and members of Congress going down to El Salvador advocating for this individual who has no legal right to be here in the United States is astonishing.
It's amazing that the Democrats refuse to listen to the American people. They are lost, and more Americans are waking up to the fact that the party of woke and open borders is not the party for them. And next, here are some rapid-fire headlines from around the country. First, the Trump administration is taking heat from the left for restarting a college loan collection program that was paused back in 2020. This program is tasked with recovering money from students who have defaulted on their college loans. Some 5 million Americans have student loans that have been in default for over a year. 5 million Americans. And this program aims to collect. Of course, the left is outraged that people who took out the loans are being forced to pay them back. It's just so incredibly unfair. Rather, the Democrats just want you and me to pick up the bill. That's not going to happen under President Trump. Next, under the category of, quote, what could possibly go wrong, the Telegraph is reporting that experiments to dim sunlight in an effort to fight global warming will soon be given the green light to move forward by the British government. Professor Mark Symes, the program director for the Advanced Research and Invention Agency, or ARIA, says there will be, quote, small controlled outdoor experiments on particular approaches, end quote. These experiments include injecting aerosols into the atmosphere and brightening clouds to reflect sunshine. According to the Telegraph, Symes says that, quote, everything we do is going to be safe by design. We're absolutely committed to responsible research, end quote. Yep, dimming the sun sounds so responsible. And finally, as reported by the Post Millennial, a new poll released by Real Clear Politics shows that President Trump's approval rating is above water for every age group except the boomers. That's right. Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, they all look favorably on the job Trump is doing. But when it comes to baby boomers, the response turns negative in a big way. President Trump is negative 14 points in the boomer category, while he is plus 9 in the 30 to 39-year-old bracket and plus 5 in the 60 to 69-year-old bracket. 20-year-olds and 50-year-olds have a positive approval as well, and there's a tie with the 40-year-olds. Perhaps the boomers are listening to the left-wing media regarding entitlements, or maybe the tariff uncertainty has them spooked. In any case, the boomers are not showing the love to President Trump. Friends, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, today's show's one sheet is available to Patreon supporters using the link in the description. The one sheet gives you the links to all the videos and stories used on today's show, so you can dive even deeper into each issue. And with that, our next show will be Monday evening at the usual time. Until then, I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.